Fair enough. Okay. Just to give a quick introduction about myself, CA Vishal Jain. I qualified chartered accountant in back in 2017, and post qualification I was associated with KPMG India as well as KPMG Dubai, and also I'm teaching ACCA and CA final students. Okay. Now this is a quick introduction about myself. Now, what we'll do before we start our course, we'll have an understanding of the course, what this course is all about. Okay, because as I understand, the students are a mix of students who has come up from the ACCA skill level or who has come from the CA background, right? So I'll design my course in a way that it suits the requirements of the both, right? So that it is helpful for both the students, the one who has come from CA final background and one who has come from ACCA skill level background. Okay, so it's not worry about that. Now, coming to the syllabus part, see, you must understand the syllabus bifurcation that is done by the ACCA or that are done our VP material is these 5 parts. Basically, part A talks about the financial reporting framework, which you have already studied in your CA final or ACCA skill level. That is conceptual framework, right? That's this one. Now, understanding of IFRS. So I believe that you already have a brief introduction about IFRS. What is IFRS, right? A brief, like the one who has come up from ACCA financial reporting background does know what is an IFRS, right? And one who has come up from CA final background, they might know or they might know AS, right? If you know AS even, this will be easy to understand. Okay. Now, third is group accounting. Okay, so the group accounting which we study in ACCA skill level and the ACCA CA final level is totally different from what we have to study here. Okay, but yes, the basic concepts will remain the same, but yes, it will be a completely different chapter which we will study here. Now, interpretation of FS, again the ones which you have studied in ACCA skill level, but yes, completely different chapter here. Okay, but yes, you have not studied this in CA final financial reporting paper. And part E is other chapters, like some few theory chapters for small and medium sized entities and the current issues. Okay, now this is the syllabus which is given by the BPP material, but we will not be going by this one. What we'll do is rather we'll restructure our program. So that it is easy for you to understand things. Okay, now what we are doing here is for part B, understanding of IFRS, we have broken down into 3 blocks. Right? See, if you can see here, non-current assets and leases are block 1. Block 2 talks about revenue, financial instruments, share-based payments, financial reporting framework. This financial reporting framework is part A, right? Part A. Now, third part is employee benefits, provisions, events after reporting date, income tax, and ethics. Okay, now the ethics comes under other 3 chapters. Now, fourth block is group accounting, which is forming part of part C. Okay, now fifth part is interpretation of financial statements, which is part D, and sixth part is small and medium sized entities and current issues. So this is the blocks which we will follow. Okay, so we will have to follow this. Our this course structure will be this one. Okay, we go block by block. First we complete block 1, then block 2, then block 3, then block 4, then block 5, then block 6. But yes, you must understand that after completion of each block, we will conduct a test. Let's suppose once we complete block 1, we'll conduct a test for this block. Now, once we complete block 2, we'll conduct a cumulative test of block 1 and block 2. Similarly, for after block 3, 1, 2, and 3 test. After completion of block 4, test of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? After completion of block 5, test of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and similarly for block 6 as well. So in total, we'll take somewhere in the range of 8 to 9 tests. We'll take somewhere in the range of 8 to 9 tests. 5 tests will be chapter-wise tests, basically you can say, and the remaining 3 tests, a bare minimum 3 tests will be full-fledged tests. Okay. Now I will not be putting any specific compulsion on you guys that you have to give the test, but yes, I will definitely recommend it. Please appear for the test whenever I take it off. Okay. Now, exam pattern. Though we will be discussing the exam pattern multiple times in our classes, but yes, just to give a quick round of background for you guys, okay, so that whenever we discuss these questions in the class, that's not something new for you. Now, see, the paper will be divided into two parts, section A and section B. Each section will have two questions. Each section will have two questions. Now, question one will be from section A. Question number one will be group accounting. But now, as I was telling that the group accounting is not the same what you studied in CA final financial reporting or ACCA skill level. Why? Because what used to happen when you studied group accounting in CA final financial reporting or ACCA skill level, the adjustments will be like fair value adjustments, unrealized profit adjustments, dividend adjustments, right? Like the adjustments were specific to group accounting. The adjustments were specific to group accounting, but that will not be the case in SBR. It will have other adjustments from other standards. It will have adjustments from other standards as well. It will test your applicability of other standards in group accounting. Okay, so that's the reason why I am writing here group accounting plus IAS oblique IFRS, and that's the reason I have kept block 4 after completion of these 3 blocks, right? So that you already have an understanding of the IFRS or IAS, so that group accounting will become an easy task for you. Okay, will become an easy task for you. Now, question number 2, ethics plus IAS and IFRS. Now, what is the meaning of this one? What is the meaning of this one? See, what happens when we are the accountants, we as an accountant has a larger responsibility towards us, right? So larger responsibility towards the society. Basically, if we do the wrong accounting treatment, the financial statements will be wrong, right? That will not be ethically correct. So what we have to do is, if anyone has done the wrong accounting, if anyone has done the wrong accounting, we have to comment whether this is within the ambit of ethics or not. Right now, what is ethics? You must have studied self-review threats, self-interest threats, right? Management threats, all these threats we must have studied, right? So we have to understand the applicability of these threats to independence on the application of IAS or oblique IFRS, right? Just to give an example, let's suppose standard says you have to recognize revenue. Okay, only when you have performed your obligations, you have fulfilled your performance obligations, right? It is then only you can recognize the revenue. What management did, because the management's incentive was based upon the revenue, so management wanted to inflate the revenue. Now, what management will try to do? Management will try to record the revenue even before the performance obligations are satisfied. Is that ethically correct? No, that's a self-interest threat. Right? So that is the way we have to understand the chapter of ethics and IAS oblique IFRS. Right? We'll discuss definitely on that. Okay. See, this is our topic where we are going to discuss. See, and that's the reason why again I have kept the ethics after completion of IAS and IFRS. Because you must understand the IAS and IFRS first to solve the questions on ethics. Are you understanding this, guys? Okay. Now, coming to exam pattern. See, okay. Now, in the exam pattern, section number B, question number 3. Again, it will test your knowledge in IAS and IFRS plus management commentaries. Now, what is the meaning of management commentaries? See, it can be anything. You have to comment upon the financial performance or position, or you have to comment upon the current issues. Right? And now, question number 4 will be IAS oblique IFRS plus additional performance measures. Generally, the question tests you around the interpretation of financial statements here, right? With the application of IAS oblique IFRS, which was not the case in ACCA skill level financial reporting, right? The students who has come up from CA background, you have not studied the chapter of interpretation of financial statements, because this was not a chapter in CA final. But this was a chapter in ACCA skill level, okay? But don't you worry, I will be discussing this chapter in a way that you have not studied this chapter. No one has studied this chapter from scratch. I start this chapter from scratch. So don't you worry about anything, okay? Now, guys, again, before we start the discussions, few things. In the class, I'll start everything from scratch, assuming that you don't have any understanding or you have forgotten everything, whatever you studied in CA final or ACCA skill level. Okay, I'll start everything from scratch. But this is my duty. But I will expect something from your end as well. My expectations will be whatever discussions I'm doing in the class today or in the class I will do, you will have to revise it right after the class. It will not take more than half an hour to revise. It will not take more than half an hour to revise, but you have to revise right after the class. And if there are any assignment that I have given, you have to solve it properly. You have to solve it properly. Guys, if you follow this concept, if you follow this approach, whatever assignments I'm giving, if you follow on a daily basis, trust me, you are definitely scoring a very good mark. You are definitely going to score a very good mark. And this my students have proved this in the previous attempts. Okay. Now, exam approach. Guys, when we are discussing the exam approach, you must understand that how SBR, strategic business reporting, is different from ACCA financial reporting or ACCA or CA financial reporting. Anyone has an answer? How is it different? So because in ACCA FR also we studied IS oblique IFRS. In CA final also we studied Ind AS, which was adopted from IFRS as well, right? Converged from IFRS as well, right? So more or less it's IFRS itself. Now, how is it different? How is it different? Anyone? Come on, guys. Okay. Tell me, when you hear the term accounts, okay, says SBR or FR or CFI and FR, both all are accounts only, right? Accounting. When you hear the term accounts, what is the picture that you get in your mind? Numbers, right? Numbers. That's what we do in ACCA financial reporting and CA financial reporting as well, right? Numbers. We play with numbers. But SBR is not a game of numbers. SBR is not a paper of numbers. No. SBR is not a paper of numbers. SBR is more of a, it is more of a, you can say, placing yourself in a corporate world, placing you in a corporate world and helping and making you suitable to deal with the real life situations. So it will not ask you to solve any specific question. Like let's suppose to give an interpretation, CA financial reporting or ACCA skill level financial reporting might ask you to calculate goodwill, but SBR will ask you to comment upon goodwill to the investors, stakeholders, right, or the board of directors. So that's how the difference is there, right? Not a game of numbers. Okay, SBR is not a paper of numbers. Okay, rather it is a paper of interpretation. Now, again, ACCA financial reporting or CA financial reporting, CA financial reporting, you were just an accountant. Okay, in SBR, you are not an accountant, you are a consultant. You are giving advice to the board of directors. You are giving advice to the investors. Okay, communication to board of directors, or you can try to start with investors board. Okay, etc. Now, okay. Again, when a question used to come in CA financial reporting or ACCA financial reporting, it used to focus on only one standard. Let's suppose there is a question in ACCA skill level on IFRS 15. It will talk only about IFRS 15. CA final will talk only about Ind AS 115. But SBR is not the same. SBR will focus on at least 2 to 3 standards in a question. In one question, it will focus on 2 to 3 standards. So now FR and FR was more of a, you can say, question based. Okay. But however, SBR is more of real life based. Are you understanding it, guys? Are you understanding it? See, what SBR is focused is, what the focus of SBR is to assess whether the students are able to apply this knowledge to the real life situation or not. Just having the knowledge of IFRS is not sufficient. Just having the knowledge of IFRS is not sufficient. Okay, just the knowledge of IFRS is not sufficient. Application in real life application is expected in this paper. Real life application is expected in this paper. Okay, so that's what you have to understand. Okay, and the examiner will definitely, okay, the examiner will definitely test you on current issues, like the favorite current issue of the examiner for the last few attempts were COVID, right? Where COVID, they have tested in and around COVID, right? A lot of questions around COVID. So what you have to understand is that's a current issue, right? Because if you were working in a corporate world, you definitely would have seen what is the impact of COVID in the accounting or in the financial reporting, right? So that's what examiner will expect you to apply it here as well, right? Now, how will you get the understanding of current issues? First, by reading the technical articles. Technical articles are a must, guys. It's a must. If you are leaving the technical articles before your exams, you are inviting challenge for yourself in the exam. So again and again, I will focus on technical articles. Again and again, I'll focus on technical articles. Okay, that is mandatory for exams. Is it clear, guys? Everyone? Is it clear, guys? Everyone? Is it clear so far, everyone? Ekta, as of now, these slides, I will send it to you guys. Okay, after the class, I will be sending these notes to you guys. This orientation, I don't think you have to write. If you want, you can write definitely. But yes, when I start the topic, I want all of you to write properly in your notebook. Though I will be sending these notes daily in our group. But yes, you should write, because when you write, you understand more. Okay, so you should write along with me. Okay, but when I'm explaining, don't write. When I'm explaining, don't write. Listen to my explanations, because that is more important. I will give you sufficient time to write the notes. Okay, if I forget to give the time to write the notes, you can ask me to stop in between for some time, and I'll stop, and you can take down the notes. Okay, if at all you feel that there is a lot of theory topics which I have written in the class, then you can skip that and write after the class with these notes. Okay, but at least all of you should have a pen and a paper to write the basic things which I'm writing in the class. Okay, so that you are able to retain it more. Divya, don't you worry about anything. I'll be sending each and everything to you guys. Okay, now tell me how many of you, okay, before let me discuss orientation first, and then I'll discuss more into this one. Okay, now success formula for SBR. First, class. Guys, all of you should attend live classes. All of you should attend live classes. I'll again strictly say live classes, because you do have an option to watch recorded lectures as well, but use that as an option if you are unable to attend live classes for some unavoidable reasons, right? But don't use that as the substitute for live classes. Why? Because guys, in the live classes, you can directly interact with me. Right? If you have any queries, you can directly ask here, then and there, and it will get resolved. But if you are doing recorded lectures, you will not have an option to ask query. right? You can definitely ask your query in the WhatsApp group, but again, that query will take time to resolve, right? I'll reply within a 1 day or 2 days. I'll reply, but so that's is the momentum of study. So attend live. Let's just get your queries resolved then and there. Okay. Now study text. As I was mentioning that right after the class you have to revise. What you have to revise? You have to right after the class. After the class, revise the notes which I will share, revise the notes, plus read from study text as well. Will you get anything new from study text? No, but your understanding will enhance. Your understanding will enhance. Okay, there will not even a single word that you will find new in your material. Okay, everything will be covered in the class 100%. Might be 110%. Okay, but not less than that. Now, but you should revise it from the study text. I will always say you should revise from study text, or you can say this is BPP workbook. You should revise from a BPP workbook. Okay, that's mandatory again. Revision kit. Okay, I will be allotting questions to you guys. I will be allotting questions to you guys from the revision kit. Okay, that you solve as an assignment. Use for assignments. Use it for assignments. Now, technical articles. Okay. Now, from where you will get the technical articles? Let me show it to you guys. Can you see the Google Chrome screen? Can you see Google Chrome screen, guys? Okay. Now, what we'll do is we'll directly go to accglobal.com. Okay. Come to students portal, study support resources. Okay. So what I'm doing here in technical articles, ACCA, visit ACCA. The website name is accglobal.com. Right. After that, visit students. After that, you visit study support resources. After that, students study support resources. After that, you come to ACCA qualification. Okay, ACCA qualification. After that, you come to SBR, strategic business reporting. And now see, you have all the data here. You have everything here. You have everything here, right? Now, see this technical articles, past exam library, examiner reports, right? Effective learning and revision, examinable documents, syllabus, getting ready modules, examining team guidance, planning your study, everything is here, right? So what I will do as an additional process is I'll copy this one and I'll paste it here. SBR. Okay, I think this will help you guys. Okay, now you guys have to do one more thing. Okay, past papers. Take a print. Take a print of all past papers. Take a print of all past papers plus their suggested answers. The suggested answers plus their examiner report. Take a print of it. Take a print of it. Though will not require this immediately, okay, but you will require this after, I can say, around 10 classes. Yes, Rasi, I will be sharing these notes after the class. Okay, now, so you have to take a print of the past papers, suggested answers, and the examiner report. From where you will get these papers? From where will you get these? See it here. Past exam library. Choose a version. You have to choose international version. Right now, see, you have questions, answers, questions, answers, questions, answers, right? So these are the questions and suggested answers. So you have to download and take a print of it. This is the suggested answers, Kamlesh. See, answers, question and answers. Okay, So this is here. So you will get that. Now coming to examiner report, you will get it here. Examiner reports. See, it is here for all the attempts. Okay. Gurjit, you must understand that their practice kit has questions from the past exams itself. Okay, but that is amended a little bit. That is amended a little bit. Okay. Plus, one thing. Second thing is, definitely if you have the questions in the practice kit or revision kit from the past exam questions, but that is scattered in a chapter wise manner, right? Allocated in a chapter wise manner. That is not a full-fledged question, right? But you to get a confidence, you should start solving a full-fledged questions, right? So for that only I'm telling you should take a print of it. Not required immediately. It will be required after 10 classes. Not now. Okay, not now. Okay, it will be required after 10 classes. So, but you should keep things ready with you. Okay. Now, so take a print of all the past papers suggested as in the examiner report. How it will help, I will discuss definitely with you. Okay. No, see, there are answers are a little bit different for country specific. Okay, but yes, in India we follow international version. Now coming to the class notes, many of you guys have queried this one, class notes. So again, the class notes will be shared with you guys. The class notes, these notes in which I'm writing here, these will be shared with you guys after the class ends. Okay, after the every class, these notes will be shared with you guys. Okay, these notes will be shared with you guys. So don't you worry at all. Don't you worry at all. Okay, these notes will be shared with you guys. Okay. Will be shared after the class for every class. Study format. Okay. Study format. See, guys, what you have to understand is this study format. This is for you, not for me. Okay. You have to follow. You have to follow. Just a minute. You have to follow cumulative study approach. Now, what is the meaning of cumulative study approach? Let me explain it now. Let's suppose I am discussing any standard. Okay, let's suppose I am discussing revenue and it takes around 3 classes for that. Let's suppose. Okay, so now what you will do is after the completion of first class of revenue, you will revise first class of revenue. After the completion of second class of revenue, you will not revise second class of revenue. You will revise first class and second class. And after the completion of third class of revenue, you will revise first class, second class, third class. Is that clear, guys? Okay. So what is the strategy? 1. Then on the second day, 1 plus 2, and the third day, 1 plus 2 plus 3. Now blockwise. Okay. After for each block also you will do one same thing. Block 1 again. Let's suppose block 1 goes on for 6 classes. Okay, you will revise it this way. Okay, 1 plus 2. Same logic will apply here. I believe you have understood what I'm trying to say. Guys. Please confirm. I believe you have understood. Right. Now just a minute. Sorry, as a query, which one I should opt for SBR exam? SBR, international SBR, EQ, whether SBR, EQ will help someone if someone wants to move to EQ. No, sorry, it will not. It is not specifically going to help. You should in India, you should choose international version itself. Okay. There are some things, few things which are additional in SBR UK, but that is fine. If you understand international version, it will be easy for you. Okay. So please choose international version itself. Now, so this is what all about the course. Now tell me if you have any specific queries, I'll take it up and then we'll move on to our course. If you have any specific queries relating to the orientation, definitely I'll help you with that now. Tell me, guys. Anyone? Pass percentage. Generally, the pass percentage of SBR is very high as compared to other papers in pre-level. The reason. Okay, let me write that as well. If you know that in SBR, none of the answers are wrong answers. None of the answers are wrong answers. Okay, unless you are writing a wrong IAS treatment or IFRS treatment. Okay, unless you're writing that, otherwise there are no wrong answers. Okay, your answer, if you're written a correct answer, right answer, it is always right. Right answer is always right. But if you have written a wrong answer, okay, that is also right. But you have to justify your wrong answer, or basically you have to justify your logic behind wrong answer. That's all. Okay, so none of the answers are wrong answers. You'll get marks for each and every. Okay, so that's the beauty of this paper. Indrajit, let's stick to SBR. If you have any other queries, we can definitely discuss separately. Okay. Is it lengthy? Yes, it is lengthy because we will be discussing each and everything. Okay, it is lengthy. It is lengthy. Okay, but yes, we will not. We'll see what are the important areas, what are less important areas. Definitely, we'll put our emphasis accordingly on that. Okay, but yes, we have to practice much and much. It's a paper of practice. It's a paper of practice. If you don't practice, you can say scoring good marks will be challenge. I'll not say passing will be challenge, but I'll say scoring good marks will be a challenge. Okay, and this is a paper where you can score really good marks if you study well. Any queries specific to SBR, guys? Any queries specific to SBR? Yes, it is a competitive exam. Now, just tell me, just out of curiosity, I want to discuss how many of you, for how many of you, SBR will be the first paper in ACCA? For how many of you? Siddharth, okay. For a lot of you, okay. Is it all of you? I think all. Okay, you have cleared diploma IFRS, so it will be, this paper will be pretty easy for you. Which textbook you have, Gurjeet? Depends how, what is the, which textbook you have? 2021, 2223. At least you should have 20221. At least 20221 you should have, okay? Because there are certain changes after 2021, okay? So at least you should have 2022. Sure, definitely we'll consider that. As of now, I'll only recommend to revise right after my classes, okay? Till the next 5 to 10 classes. After that, we'll increase our pace as well, okay? And you have also need to increase your pace, because once 10 classes are done, then what will happen is you will have an understanding of 5 to 6 IFRS. Then you can start solving the revision kit questions, okay? As of now, if I after completing one topic, one IFRS, if you just focus on revision kit questions, you might not be able to solve it, okay? Okay. Kaplan will not be referring, ICTA will be referring only BPP. So if you want, you can do definitely refer that. But in our classes, we'll be referring to BPP. We will be done with our syllabus by again, if we can give you deadline, just give me a minute. We will be done with our syllabus by 20th of November. By 20th of November, we will be completely done with our syllabus of SBR. And after that, we'll be starting with a revision series. No, not only on Saturdays, Sundays. Definitely, we will have to take extra classes, for which not now. Like I will start the extra classes in the month of October, so that you guys, what is the exam date? Generally, ranges from 8th or 9th. I have to check what is the exam date for the December attempt. Okay, generally it ranges from 8th or 9th. Mostly 8th it is. But yes, definitely you can check in the ACCA portal as well. Okay, now, guys, can we start with our topic? Can we start the topic? Any other queries? Anyone? Yes, Parvesh, it will be fully helpful for March 2023 exam as well. Leave before exam, 3 to 4 days is more than enough. Or 3 days or 2 3 days. 3 days is more than enough. Okay. Now let us start with our topic 1 of block number 1. Topic 1 of block 1. Topic 1 on block 1 is leases. Now, a lot of things to study in leases, but I believe you guys are already aware of what is a lease. You guys are already aware of what is a lease. Tell me. Tell me, guys, what is a lease? What do you understand by lease? What do you understand by lease? What is your understanding on lease? Meaning of lease? Tell me. Come on, guys. Rental. Okay. Rental. Contract for the let out or use of the property. Okay. Giving the control of the asset to another on rental basis. Okay. Now, what happens, guys? Okay, tell me what is the difference between lease and purchase? What is the difference when we take the asset on lease or when we take the asset on purchase? Tell me, anyone? Not transfer of ownership. Okay, then what does the what is transferred then? What is transferred then? Position is transferred. Solely the position, Divya? Right to use. Okay. Basically, if I say that this is as you are all are aware that in a lease contract there are two parties involved, lessee and lessor, right? Lessee and lessor. So this is lessee. And okay, let me write here lessor first. And this is lessee. Okay, and now the lessor has given the asset to lessee, right? Who is lessor? Who gives who provides right of use, and who is lessee? Who obtains right of use of the asset, right of use of the asset, right? So I believe you're understanding the terminologies of lessee and lessor right now. So lessor is a person who gives the right of use of the asset to the lessee. Right now, when the lessee, now talking from the point of view of lessee, talking from the point of view of lessee, talking from the point of view of lessee, lessee would have additionally, rather, lessee would have an option to purchase the asset also from the market. Okay, purchase. Now the question is, how of these two are different? How right of use and purchase are different? See, when the lessee purchases the asset, it gets what? It gets ownership, right? Plus control over the asset, plus control over the useful life of the asset, right? Over the useful life of the asset. But tell me, is that the case in case of a right of use? Will I get ownership? No, I will not get ownership. Will I get control? Yes, I get the control. But will I get the control for the useful life of the asset? Tell me, will I get the control over the useful life? No, then what? Tell me. Then what? I will get the control over the lease period. Wonderful answer, sir. So you will get the control over the lease period. You'll get the control over the lease period, right? So that's the difference between a purchase transaction and a lease transaction. That's the difference between a purchase transaction and a lease transaction. Now, with this example, I think you will be in a better position to define what is a lease, right? Now, if we have to define what is a lease, so we can define that lease is a contract. Lease is a contract which gives what? Contract which gives right of use. Right? Now, if the lessee is getting the right of use of what? Of an identified asset, right? Of an asset. Let me write here asset first. Don't you think if the lessee is getting the right of use of an asset, that asset should be specified in this contract? The asset should be specified in the contract, right? And that's why the name comes as identified asset. Identified asset, right? Now, tell me, if the lessee is getting the right of use of an identified asset, will it get for the full life of the asset? Tell me, will it get for the full life of the asset? No, it will get for a specific period of time. So you can write here for a specific period of time. For a specific period of time, which is also called as lease period. Which is also called as lease period. And now, fifth point is, will the lessee get it for free? Will the lessee get it for free? No, right? So in exchange of consideration. Which is called as lease payments. Which is called as lease payments. I hope the definition of lease is clear to all of you. The definition of lease is clear to all of you. Right? Now, moving on to second topic. Second point which you must understand here is, is why IFRS 16. Guys, how many of you are aware that there was a standard before IFRS 16 on leases? Any of you aware? So I'll just tell you a few things which will be helpful for you guys in the exam as well. Okay. So before IFRS 16, okay, there was a standard called IAS 17. AS 19 was in accounting standard design. Okay. Okay. Now that got changed to IFRS 16. Okay. Now, this standard was also discussed, telling on the lines of you can say leases. Both the standards were for leases. Both the standards were for leases. Now, what happened in 1st January 2019? Okay, this got changed. In India, it was 1st March 2019. Okay, 1st April 2019. Now, this got changed to IFRS 16. IFRS 16. Now, why? The question is why? Why the earlier standard, that is IAS 17, was removed, and why IFRS 16 was brought into the picture? Okay, that's a question. That's a question. Okay. Now, before we discuss why, let us quickly have a brief background about IAS 17. Let me give you a brief background about IAS 17. Okay. Now IAS 17. See, IAS 17 told that the accounting has to be discussed for leases. The accounting has to be discussed from a perspective of lessee and from the perspective of lessor. And now from the perspective of both, the lease contracts can be classified into two parts. The lease contract can be classified into two parts. One is operating lease, and one is finance lease. Again, lessor will also classify same way, operating lease and finance lease. Operating lease and finance lease. Now, quickly discussing upon the accounting treatment as well, and I believe all of you are aware of it. Okay. Now, operating lease. What will lessee do? It will record a rent expense, right? Please confirm, guys. At least, please confirm. For operating lease, the lessee will record a rent expense. For finance lease, lessee will record a lease asset, and a lease liability. Right? Tell me yes or no. For operating lease, lessor will record a rent income, right? And for finance lease, lessor will de-recognize the asset and recognize lease receivables. Tell me, guys, is that clear or not so far? Is that clear or not so far? This is what you have studied in AS 19 if you are from CA background, or this is what you have studied Now in skill ACCA skill level also, you must have understood this one at least. If not, then at least understand. Trust me, and this was what was happening in IA 17. This was what was happening. If you have not studied, if you have not studied, this was what was happening in IA 17 leases. Okay. Now, what was the flaw? See, because if something is removed, there must be some flaw in that, right? If something is removed, there must be some flaw in that. The question comes up, what was the flaw? The question that comes up is, what was the flaw? Why I'm explaining this first? Why I'm explaining this? Because a question will come up. What is the impact of application of new standard? Okay, how the new standard change the accounting treatments, right? A question will come up. So that's the reason why I'm discussing it here. Okay, now. Okay, what was happening? What was happening was, there is no questions for the next 5 minutes. Okay, let me explain this and then I'll take up all the questions. No questions for the next 5 minutes. What was happening was a lessee, when they were taking the assets on lease, Okay, now if I think you guys know how to classify a contract as an operating lease and a finance lease, right? There were 5 conditions to classify, right? If you have taken the asset on lease for a substantial period of life of the asset, if the present value of the lease payments is equals to or more or less or equals to fair value of the asset, right? Basically, what is happening is you have an intention to purchase the asset rather than taking the asset on rental. Okay, if you have taken the asset on rental, then that's an operating lease. If your intention is to purchase the asset, then that's a finance lease. Okay, but the contract has been structured in a way that it is a lease contract, but your intention is a purchase. That's a finance lease. I believe you are able to differentiate between the operating lease and a finance lease. Now, what will happen? Okay, let's suppose this is a lessee. This is a lessee. Okay. Now, and this is a lessor. This is a lessor. Lessee took an asset. Lessee took an asset on finance lease. On finance lease. On finance lease. Tell me what will lessor do? Tell me what will lessor do? Lessor will de-recognize. Lessor will de-recognize the asset, and lessor will recognize lease receivables. And what is the value of lease receivables? Lease receivables will be recognized at present value of all future lease payments that will come from the lessee. Okay, that's the meaning of lease receivables. Okay, if you're not aware of it, so I have clarified it now. Now, what will lessee do ideally? What will lessee do? Lessee will record lease liability. Lease liability. Okay, and what is the value of lease liability? It will again be present value of future lease payments. Okay, and the lessee will also record a lease asset. The lessee will also record a lease asset. Okay, but now, few things. Think from the point of view of lessee now. Think from the point of view of lessee now. Questions. I am giving you certain questions. You think around that and tell me why. Question number 1. Impact of recognizing lease liability. What is the impact of recognizing lease liability? This is my first question. My question number 2 is, what is the impact of recognizing lease asset? What is the impact of recognizing lease asset? Try to think on these lines. If you are able to think it, fine. If not, then definitely I'll help you with that. But try, at least try to think on these lines. Tell me, what is the impact of recognizing lease liability? Now, I'll give you one hint. I'll give you one hint. Think negatively. Think negatively. Like how it will impact negatively to the lessee. Due to recognizing lease liability, how will it impact negatively to the lessee? Finance cost. Okay. Now again, Renuka, you are thinking from an accounting perspective. Think from an operational perspective. Think from an operational perspective, not from an accounting perspective. Think from an operational perspective, business perspective. Business perspective. Long-term liability will increase, correct? And what is the impact of increasing the long-term liability? What is the impact of debt is increasing? Yes. What is the impact of that? Gearing increased. Okay. What is the impact of that? If the gearing increases, what is the impact of that? If the gearing increases, what is the ultimate impact of that? You guys are going correct. Tell me. Higher risk. High risk, very good. But what is the ultimate impact? Loan financing cost as well as the ratios are adverse. Okay. Let me help you with that. Let me help you with that. Don't worry. I think you guys have given almost very good answers. Really happy to see the answers. But let me help you with that. If recognize lease liability, if you recognize lease liability, I write LL. Okay. The impact is it will lead to increase the debt. Debt will increase, right? The debt will increase. Now, if the debt increases, then what will happen? If the debt increases, what will happen? Your gearing ratio will increase. Your gearing ratio will increase. Now, if your gearing ratio increases, what is the ultimate impact of that? The ultimate impact is the ability to take new loan reduces. Tell me exactly. Credibility of the company reduces. It's not about solely about the credibility. See, it's not that the debt shows a negative picture. It's no. Debt is good for the company as well. Debt is good for the company, right? Because it gives a leveraging effect. It gives a leveraging effect. But up to a certain extent, not beyond that. Not beyond that. Right? If the debt increases beyond an optimum level, that gives a credibility issue to the company. Not otherwise. Not otherwise, right? A perfect example for that is Anil Ambani. A perfect example for that is Anil Ambani, right? He started taking more and more loans, and that was the reason why it went down, why he went down, right? Now, again, coming to lease asset, you must be wondering, it's very good to recognize an asset. Then how can we think negatively for an asset? Let's discuss this as well. You will understand one new picture today. Okay. Now what happens? If you recognize asset, if you recognize lease asset, then what will happen? Think negatively and tell me what can be the negative consequences of recognizing a lease asset. What can be the consequences of recognizing a lease asset? Try, guys, at least whether correct or wrong doesn't matter, but try at least. That's how your interpretation skills will improve. At least try. No owned asset. You are recognizing a lease asset. Increase assets, though it is not our asset. In a decrease in profit due to depreciation. No, again, think from a business perspective. Think from a business perspective. Okay, I'll help you with an example. Okay, I think Nutan has correctly answered it. Okay, but yes, I'll give you with an example as well. Okay, let's suppose there are two friends. Okay, A and B are two best friends. Okay, both are into manufacturing. Okay, so but what A has a policy? A purchases the asset. A purchase the asset. So if the A purchases the asset, then A will definitely recognize the asset at, let's suppose, $100. Let's suppose $100. Okay. And using this asset of $100, A generates a revenue of $1,000. Now tell me, what is the asset turnover ratio? 10 times? Tell me yes or no? Tell me yes or no? Right? Now B definitely has an asset which B purchases. Let's suppose A purchases 50% of the asset. Okay, 50. But the remaining 50 A takes on lease. Okay. Now see, this B also has an asset of 100. Sorry, B also has an asset of 100 only. So the revenue that is generated by B is also 1,000. Revenue that is generated by B is also 1,000. But now, what is the asset turnover ratio? What is the asset turnover ratio? Ideally should be 10 times. But if, let me take red pen, if B doesn't recognize lease asset, then ATR will be what? ATR will be 1,000 divided by 50 is equals to 20 times. Now what is happening? Just by changing the accounting treatment, you are able to play with your ratios. Are you able to understand, guys? Right? And the ratios, the disclosure of ratios plays a crucial role in disclosures of the financial reporting, right? Earlier it was not the case in India, but now it is the case in India as well, right? If you are aware for India, the Schedule 3 requirements, they have asked us to disclose a lot of ratios in the financial statements, right? If you are aware of it. So the disclosure of accounting ratios definitely was there internationally, and this is common in India as well now. So your ratio will improve just by changing one of the accounting treatment, and that was the reason why. Okay. Now recognize LA. Okay, and what it will lead to? It will lead to decrease. It will lead to decrease in asset turnover ratio. If it is recognized, if lease asset is recognized, it will lead to decrease in asset turnover ratio. Now tell me, what will be the ultimate impact of this one? What will be the ultimate impact of this one? What will be the ultimate impact of this one? I lied here. The ultimate impact. Guys, again, I'll say my class has to be an interactive class, not only me delivering the lecture. Okay, yeah, I think you can discuss your queries now. If you have any queries, you can discuss it with me now. So my class should be interactive, not only me discussing, me giving the lecture and you listening to it. If you have any queries, you should put it up. If you have any concerns, you should put it up. Okay. If you have any points which you can add in the class, you should definitely put it up. Okay. We should learn from each other. Now, what is the ultimate impact? The impact was, let's see, the impact was, let's say used to obtain asset on finance lease. Whenever the asset, let's say used to obtain an asset on finance lease, let's see the in certain cases, let's see used to classify it as operating lease. Let's see used to classify it as operating lease. Though the asset has been taken on finance lease, but let's see used to classify it as operating lease. And that was the wrong. And this is wrong accounting treatment. This is wrong. Wrong accounting. Wrong accounting. And that was the reason why this change was brought. Now, can you tell me what was the change that was brought into? What was the change that was brought into? The change is, the only change that is there is this one. The only change which is there is this one. There is no concept of operating lease under IFRS 16. Under IFRS 16, there is no concept of operating lease. Rest everything remains the same as it was. Nutan, you should understand the concept, Nutan. Okay. What I have written. See here. If you recognize LA, decrease in asset turnover ratio. Now, if B doesn't recognize, it will increase. If it recognizes, it is decreasing. If it is recognizing lease asset, it is decreasing. See, from 20 to 10. Is it clear now, Nutan? Okay, so this was a change which was brought in by IFRS 16, and I believe you guys are clear on this now. The change, what was the change that was brought in by IFRS 16 and why that change was brought into? Basically, see, the intent was to take the asset on finance lease itself, but they used to structure the contract in a manner. They structure the contract in a manner that it appeared to be, you can say, operating lease contract. Just to give an example, let's suppose the life of the asset is 5 years, okay, and I have to take the asset on lease for 4 years. Now, if I am taking the asset on lease for 4 years, for 4 years out of 5 years, don't you think that forms a substantial part and it should be treated as a finance lease? It should be treated as a finance lease, tell me. Right? But what the lessee used to do, they used to enter into 4 contracts of 12 months. They used to enter into 4 contracts of 12 months. They used to enter into 4 contracts of 12 months. Okay. So that also becomes 4 years. And that they used to account for it as an operating lease. We'll study everything. I think someone asked how will we record operating lease in IFRS 16. There is no concept of operating lease for a lessee in IFRS 16. Definitely there are certain exemptions which are given, which we'll study. Okay, but there is no concept of operating lease now. All the concepts will be treated as a finance lease contracts. There is no concept of operating lease for lessee. I'm not talking about lessor, I'm talking about lessee. Okay, there is no concept of operating lease for a lessee now. Lessor will try to treat finance lease as operating lease. Okay, and what will the benefit? What will the benefit that lessor will get? After treating finance lease as operating lease, tell me. Come here. Lessor has entered into a finance, okay, but he's trying to record as an operating lease. What is the benefit that the lessor will get? Tell me. Any benefits? Increase in ATR. Why? How come increase in ATR? Tell me now. Again, anyways, see, if it asset is decreasing, here rental income is also increasing, right? Ultimately, no impact. Right? Ultimately, no impact. Right? Because in this case, you will not be able to recognize income. You will recognize finance income definitely, but not any income, right? In this case, you will recognize rent income. Right? So the impact will not be much. So definitely the lessor will not try to do this one. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Everyone? Now, yes, Vishaka, tell me. Is there any query which I have which is not yet resolved? The last part not clear. Can you tell me your exact query, Divya, Vishaka? And please tell me your exact query. Which part is not clear? I will explain it again. No worries. So the finance lease will be treated as operating lease, but from whose perspective? Okay, what I'm trying to say was from a lessee perspective. Okay, see, that's the reason why operating lease is no more existing for a lessee. Okay, see here, this one which I was discussing here, impact of recognizing lease liability, impact of recognizing lease asset. We were discussing from the point of view of lessee, right? Because liability is for a lessee, lease asset is for a lessee. So this is from the point of view of lessee, not lessor. Why the change in IFRS 16 is positive? Because the wrong accounting treatment which was given by lessee will no more be given. Okay, because what was lessee trying to do? Lessee was entering into a finance lease contract, but recognizing that as an operating lease contract. Lessee was entering into finance lease, but recognizing it as an operating lease. Now, if I remove the operating lease, can the lessee do wrong accounting treatment now? Tell me. Can the lessee do wrong accounting treatment now? If I remove the operating lease itself from the purview. No, right? Is it clear now? There is no choice now. Exactly, Siddharth. There is no choice now. Exactly. It is only finance lease, right? Agree, Siddharth, but it will because we are recording this class as well, and so it will disturb the recording. So unmuting will not be possible. If you have to unmute, what we can do is after the class we can wait. After the class we can unmute you and we can discuss the questions if you have anything. Okay, we can definitely unmute after the class. Now. Okay, I hope it is clear now. The change is clear now. Now let's see hash recognize asset. Exactly. Okay, now second topic, coming to third topic, coming to topic number 3. Topic number 3 is how to identify whether a contract constitutes a lease contract. This is question number 3. Now, guys, you must understand how will we. Okay, now tell me, lease. If you have understood the definition of a lease, you can definitely identify whether the contract is a lease contract or not. Yes, Visakha. Lease. So first, it has to be a contract. It's not about it impact negatively, but it's about correct accounting treatment is being followed, right? Whether it impacts negatively or positively doesn't matter, but a correct accounting treatment is to be followed. Now, contract for what? Right of use. Right of use of what? Of an identified asset. Of an identified asset. For a specific period of time or a specified period of time. Specified time. And in exchange of consideration. Okay, now, so contract is already there, so we are not studying about the contract now. We have to study what is the meaning of right of use. We have to study what is the meaning of identified asset. Specified time we will study in lease period, and consideration we will study in lease payments. So now, what is the basic feature which should be there in a contract to classify the contract as a lease contract? So these are these two. These are the two conditions which has to be satisfied in all the contracts. Which has to be satisfied in all the contracts for classifying that contract is as a lease contract. For classifying the contract as a lease contract. Okay. Now, so there are two things. That is identified asset. There are two things, which is identified asset and right of use. Right of use. Now, identified asset, I'll explain. But now tell me, coming to right of use, what is the meaning of right of use? The meaning is, tell me what? The control. You have got the control. Right? Can I say right of use means control of use? Control over use. Control over use. Can I say this? Tell me. Yes, because if you have got the right to use, means you have got the control to use for a specified period of time. Now, when you get the control over something, what is the meaning of control? Tell me. What is the meaning of control? What is the meaning of control? Risk and rewards. Okay. Now, understand. See, guys, IFRS talks from a control perspective. AS, accounting standards, which was from an Indian scenario, talks from a risk and rewards perspective. What is the difference between control and risk? Risk and rewards is just one of the indicators of control. Okay, control is a more broader term. We'll definitely understand the difference between control and risk and rewards in standards of revenue much better. We'll understand in detail. But yes, as of now, understand that control is a broader term than risk and rewards. Okay, and risk and rewards is just an indicator of transfer of control. Okay, now control over use means what? You will get something. Okay, see, basically, if I have got the control, means I have got the right to use the asset in a manner I want to, right? Plus, if I've got the control over use, means I have got the right to receive all the economic benefits from using the asset that comes from using the asset. Now, what is the meaning of this one? What is the meaning of this one? Let's suppose I give this pen to you guys on lease for 1 month. I give this pen to you guys on lease for 1 month. For this period of 1 month, can I say that you can't write on this particular day with this pen, or you can't write on particular this one, right? No, you can write whatever you want to, wherever you want to, using this pen. Tell me yes or no, right? That means you have got the right to use this pencil in a manner you want to. Definitely there will be certain restrictions which I'll put, right? Definitely there will be some restrictions which I'll put, okay, for which also we'll discuss it now. But you can use it in any manner you want to. Now let's suppose what you did, one of my students use this pencil to draw diagrams or sketches, okay, and sold those sketches in the market and earned revenue. Will I ask a share in that revenue? No, because if you have got the right to use this pencil, whatever earnings that you will do from this pencil is also yours, right? Same thing I have written here. If I have given this pencil to you on rental for 1 month, you can use this pencil in any manner you want to. If you generate any revenue from this pencil, that is also yours, not mine, unless and otherwise the contract stipulates that I need a share. Okay. Sorry. Right to sell is not there. Agree. I'm not telling about sale. I'm telling economic benefits from using the asset. I'm not saying from selling the asset. Understand this word, from using the asset. Understand this word, guys, from using the asset. Sublease is allowed, yes. But now, let's not go into that tangent now. Okay. So now to give a crux of it, and we'll discuss, though we'll discuss also, but let me give you a crux also. Just give a minute, please. To classify any contract as lease contract, it must satisfy all the below conditions. Now, what is the condition number 1? Condition number 1 is identified asset should exist. We'll discuss what is the meaning of identified asset should exist. Condition number 2 is, okay, lessee should have the right to direct the use of the asset, meaning thereby the lessee can use the asset in any manner he wants it to. Condition number 3 is lessee has the right to receive substantially all the economic benefits from use of asset. I'm not telling ownership, use and ownership, and I write cut and ownership. Tell me, is that clear now? Definitely we'll discuss each of these 3 conditions, but tell me from a gross level, is it clear now? What about repair and maintenance cost? That depends upon the contract, Gurjeet. Gurjeet, and all of you guys, you must understand that whatever we are discussing in the class, first pay attention to that. And if you have any queries directly relating to that, please ask it. Okay. Certain queries I will not be taking up. I'll parking it off. Okay. Because that will be covered later in our classes. Okay. Now, so this is what you have to understand. Tell me at gross level, have you understood this point, these conditions? At gross level, have you understood these topics, these conditions? Definitely now we have to discuss each of them in detail one by one. But yes, tell me at a gross level, have you understood this? Okay. Now, what we'll do is we'll take a break of 10 minutes and then we'll resume our session. Okay. Let's resume back at 8:41. Let's resume back, guys. Now we were discussing about the how to classify a contract as a lease contract, right? Now coming to these three conditions which we are discussing, right? Now let's discuss each of them one by one. Now the condition number 1, guys, can you just please confirm if you are back from the break? Thank you. Now condition number 1 is identified asset should exist. Right? Now, what is the meaning of this one? What is the meaning of this one? So for this, it says two things. One is manner of specification. Another is lessor should not have the substantive substitution rights. Now, what is the meaning of this one? Manner of specification. It says the asset can be either explicitly or implicitly specified in the contract. Now, what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this one? Explicitly specified. What is the meaning of explicitly specified? Anyone? I think you have already studied this topic in either CE or a skill level. Tell me, what is the meaning of explicitly specified? What is the meaning of explicitly specified? It's stated in the contract, right? Clearly stated in the contract, you can say that. Right? Now, what is the meaning of implicitly specified? Not clearly stated, but both the lessee and lessor knows which asset we are talking about. Okay, let's suppose I have taken a vehicle on rent from lessor. Okay, and in the contract I just written that Vishal Jain has rented a bike from this person. Okay, but which bike is not written, but I know which bike. Why? Because the lessor has only one bike, so I know which bike I am going to get, and the lessor knows which bike he is going to give. Right? So this is just an example. Similarly, there can be multiple examples. So that is a case of implicitly. So it's not that it has to be explicitly specified or implicitly specified. Either of them is fine. Okay. It's not that the asset has to be explicitly specified. No, not required. Even if it is implicitly specified, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Now coming to the lessor should not have substantive substitution rights. Now, what is the meaning of this one? Let's suppose, how many of you have been to airport? How many of you have been to airport? I assume all. Tell me. Right now in the airports, you must have seen, like, if you have visited multiple times, that some stores, sometimes they are placed this side. The next time you visit, they are placed the other side. Have you noticed this thing? Or not only stores, in the shopping malls even, right? Kiosks. Exactly, Gujit. So sometimes they are placed here, sometimes they are placed somewhere else, sometimes they are placed somewhere else. Now tell me the entity who has leased any space for keeping their kiosk, have they any specific area? Do they have any specific area? No, they don't have a specific area. The area keeps on changing according to the requirements of the mall, right? According to the requirements of the shopping mall, right? Now tell me, let's suppose the Cadbury company has taken a place, rented a place for keeping their kiosks in a shopping mall. Okay. Now, shopping mall keeps on changing the place of that kiosk. Keeps on changing the place of this kiosk. Tell me, think from the point of Cadbury now. Does Cadbury has the right to direct the use of that place which is rented? No, no. Why? Because the lessor keeps on changing the place according to their requirements, right? So that's why this point is coming up. Lessor should not have substantive substitution rights. Means, let's suppose if I've taken a flat on rent, okay, let's suppose this studio is on rent. Now if my lessor comes to me every month and says that, Vishal, let me substitute this studio for some other studio. Okay, tell me, does that mean that I have the control over the studio? No, I don't have it. Right? So what does that mean? That lessor should not have substitution rights. The lessor should not have substitution rights. Okay. If the lessor has it, there is no identified asset. If the lessor doesn't have it, then we can say identified asset exists. Okay. Now, what happens? Many times, let's suppose I have taken the studio on rent. Okay, and the studio requires some repairs. Definitely, I'll approach my lessor and say that this studio requires repairs, and please repair it off. Now, for that period, if that asset is substituted, can I say that the lessor has the substantive substitution rights? No. Why? Because it is the lessee, the lessee has approached the lessor, not the lessor has approached the lessee. Are you understanding it, guys? Okay. Now, see, this is condition number 1. Condition number 2, we have already discussed condition number 2 and condition number 3, meaning thereby the lessee should have the right to direct the use of the asset. The lessee should have the right to direct the use of the asset. Basically, the lessee will determine how and for what purpose. I'll write here. How and for what purpose the asset will be used. Okay, how and for what purpose the asset will be used, that will be determined by the lessee. Is that clear, guys? Everyone? Is that clear, everyone? Now, lessee has the right to receive substantially all the economic benefits from use and ownership of the asset. Let me give you one example for this one. Though I believe I have already explained this one, but let me give you an example. Okay. Let's suppose this is a lessee. And this is the lessor. Okay. Now, lessee has taken a solar farm on lease from the lessor. Okay. Now, okay, tell me what are the economic benefits that are derived from the solar farm. One is electricity. Another is you can say renewable energy credits. Basically, what happens when you use a solar farm? What happens is you generate electricity, and on the basis of electricity generated, you get renewable energy credits from the government, right? Incentives from the government. And now, third one is tax benefits. Tax benefits. Now tell me which of these benefits is coming from use and which of these benefits are coming from ownership. Tell me, is electricity coming from use or ownership? Use, very good. Renewable energy credits is coming from use or ownership? The government will give the renewable energy credits to the person who generated the electricity, right? Not ownership, Gurjeet. Not ownership, Gurjeet. The renewable energy credits are given by the government to the person who has generated the electricity, right? Use, right? Tax benefits. Does income tax authorities know about anything about use or ownership? No, they know that whoever owns the asset, I have to give the benefit to them, right? So this comes from ownership. This comes from ownership. Okay. Now, if I say that these two benefits will be with the lessee, and this benefit will be with the lessor. Question is, does lessee receive all the economic benefits, or not all the economic benefits? Does lessee receive substantially all the economic, substantially all the economic benefits from use of the asset? The answer to that is yes, right? Because see, these two were the use, these two were the benefits which was coming from use, right? And these two benefits are going to lessee. So the answer to that is yes. Yes. Tell me, is that clear, everyone? Is that clear, everyone? Okay. Now, though there are certain questions in our book relating to this one, okay, but I'm not discussing that as of now. I give you that as an assignment. I will give that as an assignment, and then I'll take up that as in the next class. But let me discuss one more concept now. Simran, which part you want me to explain again? The last one. Simran, do one thing. Just I'm stopping here for 2 minutes. Just read this diagram, read condition number 3, and read this question. Tax benefits, okay. See, the tax benefits, okay. Does income tax authority know that who is using the asset or who is owning the asset? No. Income tax authorities know who purchased the asset. I have to give the benefit to them. That's all is known to income tax authorities, right? So the tax benefits, that is depreciation benefits, right? Depreciation benefits in the books of tax is given to the owner of the asset and not to the person who is using the asset. Is it clear, guys? Simran, is it clear to you? Simran, is that clear to you? So as long as electricity and receivable is with lessee, which is a contract. As long as electricity and renewable energy credits is with lessee, it is a contract. Yes, I cannot say it's a contract. I can say that condition number 3 is getting satisfied. Condition number 3 is getting satisfied. Now, Ekta has a query substitution points. Understand, Ekta, that if you have taken anything on a lease, you should have the control over that, right? If someone is taking away the control from you, that's not an identified asset. That's not an identified asset, right? You should have the control. You should determine that how you want to use it, when you want to use it, how, for what purpose you want to use it. If someone comes and says that, okay, let me substitute the asset for their benefit, that's not an identified asset. If that's not an identified asset, that's not a contract. That's not a lease contract, I can say. That's not a lease contract. Is it clear now, Ekta? I'm not talking about tax benefits on electricity generated per waste. I'm talking about tax benefits from a deduction perspective. Okay, because the tax laws are different for different countries, but definitely the tax benefits are given on the ownership of the asset. I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear. Now, what you have to do after this class is you have to read all these things. Okay, I'll just tell you. I'll tell you guys also what exactly you have to do. Okay, or I'll project it in the screen here itself. Screen is projected here. Can you see the book? Can you see the book? Okay. Identifying a lease. See, this is the topic that we covered right now. And after that, you have to, there's an illustration on this one. So you have to read this illustration, try to solve it. If not, then definitely we'll discuss this illustration in the next class. Okay. After that, lease term we'll discuss. Okay, that's all. Now, let me come to next point. I hope everything is clear so far. I hope everything is clear so far, everyone. Page number in my ebook, it is 237, 236. You can see in your book whatever is okay. If you have purchased the book, yes, you will have the access to ebook. See, something like this code will be written to you for you guys. Code, it's like this code will be written, right? So using this code, you can redeem the code and get the access to ebook as well. Okay, you will get it soon. If you have purchased it, you will get it soon. Now, what I will do till then, I'll send this question in the group. Okay, in the WhatsApp group, I'll send this question. I'll send this illustration in the group. Or if you want, what you can do now is you can take a screenshot of this question. See, I've projected it. You can take a screenshot of all of you. You can take a screenshot of it. Illustration number 1. Please take a screenshot of it, guys. That's what I'm showing now. Visakha, that's what I'm showing now. That's from the book. I opened the ebook so that you can see it properly. I believe all of you can see my ebook. Okay, and that's the notes. Though we have discussed in the class, but if you want, you can take a screenshot of this as well if anyone doesn't have the book. Okay, now coming to here, let us do a simple exercise. Let us do a simple exercise. Okay. Quick test. This test will just see if you have understood the concept or not. Okay. Asset is explicitly specified. Asset is explicitly specified plus lesser has substantive substitution rights okay, which I will be telling it SSR now, plus lessee has a right to direct the use of the asset, direct the use, plus lessee will receive all economic benefits from the use of asset. Question is that is there a lease contract? Tell me, is there a lease contract? No. Why? Why? SSR, very good. No. As lesser has SSR. Very good. Point number 2. Implicitly specified. Implicitly specified. Plus. Tell me, is it a lease contract? Yes. Now tell me whether the asset is explicitly specified or implicitly specified. Does that make a difference? Does that make a difference? Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. Okay, very good. Now, so from now what I'll write, either explicitly or implicitly specified, plus lesser no SSR. No SSR with lesser. Okay. Now lessee has the right to direct the use, plus lessee will receive, let me copy it. All that. So that's a lease contract. Yes, it is a lease contract. Now, one more point in this one. In this one itself, one more point. Okay, now tell me, let's suppose when in our childhood we used to give our pen or pencil to our friend. What is the fear that we had? I always take up this example in my classes. Tell me, lose it, right? Now, if someone is giving a costly asset to you, don't you think he will also have a fear in his heart or in his mind, right? What is the fear? That the person who is to whom I have given the asset, the person to whom I have given the asset might not use it properly, or might destroy it, or might might reduce the effectiveness of the asset, might doesn't use it properly, break it, lose it. Exactly, right? Now, so don't you think they will insert certain protective rights? Now, what is the protective right? I'll tell you. I recently I rented a four-wheeler. Okay, and in the rent agreement, it was written that you cannot drive for more than 2,000 kilometers in a day. You cannot take that property out of the jurisdictions of Karnataka, because I am located in Bangalore. Okay. Now you cannot use it continuously, or like more than 1,000 kilometers continuously for more than a week. Okay, if you are driving 1,000 kilometers in a day, you cannot use it for more than 7 days continuously. So there were certain restrictions that is given. Why these restrictions? Or let's suppose if I this studio which I have taken, okay, this studio they have clearly maintained that you cannot allow anyone else to come and use this property, right? You cannot destroy any of the equipment which you are using, right? Why? Because the lessor is still interested in the asset and wants to protect its interest in the asset leased to lessee. Right now, tell me, with the inclusion of protective rights, will it impact the lease will it impact the classification of a lease? Yes, it is violating it. It is violating, but definitely, you have everyone has to work within certain ambit, right? Everyone has to work within certain ambit. Okay, now anyone, like if you have taken anything on rent, if you take anything on rent, you have to work within the terms and conditions of the contract, right? Even when you purchase, let's suppose when you purchase a flat, right? When you purchase a flat, there are also certain restrictions. So does that mean that you cannot, you don't have the right? You do have the right, but you have to work within that ambit. Nutan has a query, sir, how to differentiate protective rights and the right to direct the use? That you have to apply your judgment and differentiate it. Exactly, use it as if you own it. Exactly that. That's the best you can say. Use it as if you own it. Right? Lessor is still interested in the asset and wants to protect his interest in the asset leased. Is that clear, everyone? Okay. Now, what is the impact of protective rights? So I can say, just a minute. So for that, I can say protective rights, inclusion of protective rights in a contract doesn't change the classification. Doesn't change the classification of a contract to be a lease contract. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone, guys? Okay, just give me 2 minutes. Yeah. Anyone has any queries so far? All good. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you. Now. Now we'll start with a new topic now. Point number 4. That is, what is the lease period, or we can say, what is the lease term? What is the lease period or what is the lease term? Now, can anyone tell me what is the meaning of a lease? No, I told no. Presence or absence of protective rights does not impact the classification of a lease contract. It doesn't impact in any manner. No impact. I'll write here. No impact. No impact. Okay. Now, lease period or lease term. Tell me, guys, what do you understand by the lease period or lease term? Period for which lease is taken. Okay. Period of lease or okay. Now, Guys, you must understand that the lease term has multiple components. First component is non-cancelable period. Second component is cancelable period. Third component is extension option. Okay, and we have to assess which of these period will be coming up in the lease period. Okay, extension option, or you can say extension or renewal option. Extension or renewal option. Okay, now these are the three things. Now we must understand what is the meaning of these periods. First, non-cancelable period means a period where neither parties can cancel the contract. Okay, but and if they sue, and if they do so, there will be a penalty. And if they do so, there will be a penalty for that. Right? What is the meaning of cancelable period then? What is the meaning of cancelable period? Cancelable period means either of the parties can cancel the contract. Okay. What is the extension or renewal option? Okay. An option given by lessor to lessee to extend the lease term after the expiry of the initial lease term. After the expiry of the initial lease term. Now the question that comes up is, what is a lease term? Cancelable period has no penalty. What is a lease term? The answer to that is non-cancelable period. Non-cancelable period plus, will we take cancelable period? No, we will not take cancelable period. Okay. But there is one case in which we take cancelable period as well. So I'm just writing it off as of now. Plus extension period, extension or renewal period, Okay. These two will come in only in one case. If lessee is reasonably certain to exercise this option or continue in this period. It is then we can, otherwise we will not. Because see, non-cancelable period is a period where we understand that the lessee will definitely continue. Okay, unless otherwise there is some unforeseen situations which I cannot predict as of now. In the future, I might have to leave this property, cancel this contract. Okay, but otherwise, it is assumed that in non-cancelable period is a period where the lessee will definitely continue with this lease contract. But this lease cancelable period and extension or renewal period, there is an option with the lessee. If the lessee wants, he can continue. If the lessee doesn't want, he can terminate. Right? So in this case, we include this in the lease period only if the lessee is reasonably certain to exercise option or continue this period. Now the question that comes up is, what is the meaning of reasonably certain? Meaning thereby, lessee can estimate that if the option is exercised, then benefits will be greater than the costs. So that is called reasonably certain. Now, to give an example. What is the example for this? Okay, let's suppose Reliance. I'll give you an example. Reliance has obtained Reliance has obtained a contract warehouse on lease. Okay, Reliance has obtained a warehouse on lease. Now, for this warehouse, which Reliance has obtained on lease, okay, for this warehouse, for which Reliance has obtained on lease, what we have to do is for 3 year period, for 3 years, okay, for 3 years, with an option to extend for a further period of 2 years, for a further period of 2 years. Okay. Now Reliance has installed certain equipments in the warehouse equipment in the warehouse which has a life equipments with a life of 4 to 5 years in the warehouse. Okay, these equipments are not movable. That is, if the warehouse is changed, then Reliance will have to incur costs on these equipments again, right? Now these equipments again, okay, hence it becomes reason, and or you can go further Reliance is willing to continue in this business for a foreseeable future, right? For a foreseeable future, and the location of warehouse is also you can say good, also feasible in the market. So for the market now, tell me what is the lease term in that case? What is the lease term? The lease term will be 3 years. Lease term will be 3 years plus 2 years. Okay, 2 years, right? That is equals to 5 years. So I believe you have understood the meaning of reasonably certain. Tell me, guys, is that clear, everyone? Have you understood the meaning of reasonably certain? All of you? Is it clear, everyone? Okay. Okay. Now, I'm not keeping much longer class in the first day. Okay. So that's all I will keep. I will discussing in the today's class. Okay. Now from tomorrow we'll have as usual classes, and also now few things, guys. Few points which you have to again understand here. Assignments. Your assignments, which I want to be solved. Okay. Assignments. First. See, there's nothing much that we've discussed today. There's nothing much we've discussed today, right? I think the points which we've discussed, more or less, you were aware of it, right? I believe. Definitely, you got certain new insights on that, but you more or less you are aware of it. Yes, in the initial go itself, we consider it as a 5-year lease. But yes, I'll write here one more thing. But this this lease term will be reassessed on every reporting dates. And if we think that it becomes at next reporting date, it is no more reasonably certain, then we can remove it off. We can remove it off, subject to renewal clause, right? Okay, assignments. First one is you have to revise the class, revise from workbook, and then third is solve illustration one. Yes, illustration one. It can be every reporting date or whenever there is change in the circumstances, which makes us to believe that it is no more reasonably certain. Then on that date specifically, also in the mid of the year as well, we can remove this 2 years period. Okay, is it clear, everyone? Okay, so these are your assignments, and I believe you will do it. You have the notes from your workbook. You have your illustration one, but I projected in the screen and asked you guys to take a screenshot, right? Guys, class notes, I'll send it right away now, but you have to revise from the workbook as well, and you have to solve illustration one as well from your workbook, from BPP workbook. Okay, if anyone has not taken the screenshot, please do it now. Please do it now. Please take a screenshot of the notes and the question. This is the notes which you have to read. This is the question which you have to solve. This is the question which you have to solve. I hope it is done. Ekta, how many times I have to repeat this? Even if you don't have the book, I am projecting that in the screen. Please take a screenshot of it. That's what I'm saying. Anyone who doesn't have the book, please take a screenshot of it. Sure, I'll do that. Anyone else? Any other queries, guys? Any other queries, guys? Okay, fair enough. So that's all for the day, guys. Okay. Simran, we can take it up in the WhatsApp group, these queries, okay? So that's all for the day, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Whoever has any queries that they want to discuss with me, please stay in the class. The rest all can leave. Okay. Now I'll unmute you, Vishaka. Okay, just a minute. I have to ask them, I think. Vishaka, can you please drop me a WhatsApp? We can discuss there. Okay, thank you guys. Bye-bye.